Bob Weir does anything but view chords from an ordinary lens. We're going to look at how his approach can change the way you view them forever. Well, there's a long list of things we can look at when it comes to Bob's playing. We're just going to focus specifically on how he plays chords over Darkstar. So ignoring things like rhythm and techniques, which are definitely just as important as notes. So we're going to look at just the main jam part of Darkstar. Sometimes they would change keys and things like that, but we're going to just focus on the part where it revolves around A and what Bob can do with that. And you'll see, even though it's just A, we can take it in a lot of different directions. So at the core, you might think, oh, it's just A, right? So you could play, an open A. You could play A different ways, like this too. It doesn't have to be just the same way. You can play an A here, right? Then some people might think, oh, it's actually A to G, and it is somewhat, but it's kind of A, it's kind of G, it goes back and forth, and we'll explore the theory behind this and how it works, things like that. But to look at, okay, if you're playing A here, you can play your G here, right? And you can kind of go back and forth, and then same thing here. It's just 2 frets. That's all it is. So that's kind of like your starting point, to just know A and G's and start to learn them all over the fretboard. And using the cage system is a great way to do that, because it's just taking the open chords, C, A, G, E, D, so this A shape, and play that A in that same shape. That would be A in the A shape. You know, this would be A in the C shape, like this right here. And then G in that C shape, and then moving it around like that. So now something Bob does all the time is play pieces of chords. So instead of just playing the full bar chord shape, you're already locked in, he would just play little pieces like this. And in this case, those are called triads. So tri meaning 3, it's the building blocks of chords. So like right here, this is a root position triad, and it's specifically an A. You've got A, C sharp, and E, and those are the notes that make up, an A chord. No matter how you play them, like this, that, it's just those 3 notes. So if you play it like this, it really opens things up. You can be much more melodic and improvise around a lot more. And then when you do it for G, you just move it down 2 frets, and you don't have to play it when it happens. Don't think it's like, okay, it's A to G, back and forth, this whole jam. It's very, very, very gray. So you can just kind of move around. And if you want to hear how it sounds more clearly against that A tonality, just play an open A, right? You can hear, oh, that sounds very colorful. There's just your straight up A, your G, and move it around there. And if you want help learning the cage system, I have a cage cheat sheet PDF. You can check it out with this QR code right here, or there's a link in the description down below to check it out, where it's just mapped out. I've got all, the major shapes and minor shapes and scales that go around them as well, so that you can kind of link all the scales that you learned around chords and not just have them be in isolation. So check that out if you're interested. So to take it a little bit further is to think of it like, Bob connecting chords, kind of like these constellations of, mapping out this musical universe. And you can do it with just triads, right? So instead of just playing them around one shape like this, but playing them on one set of strings. So say you did A like this, and then you did G, A, G, A, G, back to A, and you can do them on the other sets of strings too. Right, and that gets you to be much more melodic. Now it doesn't sound like you're just playing just one chord or moving from one chord to the next, but you've got all this stuff, moving around. And that gets all the notes in the scale. You're going up, except this skips this one right here, but one way to get that is to play minor chords. You could do, in this case, E minor and F sharp minor. So these little triads like this. And also, if you want to hear how it sounds, play that open A. And you can hear how, wow, it starts to get much more colorful, and you get that note too. You play them up here. Right? And that just really starts to open things up. It makes it much more fluid, and you can just kind of move around and not be stuck with these shapes. So one really easy way to start taking it out there and get this specific dark star kind of sound is to add sus chords. So instead of just playing an A, right, play an A sus2 or an A sus4. And that makes it much, much more spacey. So if you did it right here, you can also do it up here. There's an A sus2. sus4, and then sus4, sus2. And you'll notice that this shape right here is a sus2. Move it up here, same shape, it's actually a sus4, because here's that 4, whereas over here, that's a root, that's an A, and here's your 2. And this one right here is something called quartal harmony, and it really takes it out there. Learning all these chords are great and all, but if you want to have a little something more about how to jam, check out my jam survival guide here. Again, I got a QR code here. I'll put a link in the description down below where you can check it out. We're just going to help you to know how to jam with other people beyond just knowing stuff about, chords and notes and things like that. So when it comes to notes, one of the ways Bob's takes it out the most is through quartal harmony. So that is where you're playing things in fourths mostly. It doesn't have to be entirely fourths, but mostly. And that is like where you're taking this note, you're going up here, up there, up there. Those are all going up in what they call fourths. It's a certain type of interval, and it gives a very spacey sound. A lot of times you'll have thirds mixed in there, like in a chord like this. You have, right there's a third, that's a type of third, and that gives it a certain sound, but the one on top, that's a fourth, so you do all fourths, really takes it out there. And you'll notice I haven't been playing any effects at all, so that's another way of taking it out there, to throw on a delay or something like that, but I'm keeping it real clean to show you how you can take it out there with just notes, and this is one of my favorite ways, to use quartal harmony. You can also do things whether you're doing things in seconds, which is kind of like when you're doing this right here. That's a second, also a spacey sound, or in fifths as well. If you're going like right here, fifths. But we'll focus on just the fourth. So quartal, meaning fourth, right? So you could take this shape right here, and then go up here. You do have to change it here. You could do like this. I kind of like this one here though. Modifies a little bit, and then the rest it could be going up like this, all fourths. All right, and then you can take pieces of it, so you don't have to do all four. You can do like this. Right here, how it sounds like it's the A. Really really takes it out there. And this and all the things I've been showing you here, it's not just for Dark Star. This works on other spacey songs that Dead would to like, you know, playing in the band, the jam part, the other one, or Wharf Rat, which is essentially the same kind of thing as Dark Star. It's just revolving over an A, kind of hitting that G2, so this A mixolydian sound. So earlier I went over triads and how Bob uses them all the time to be more melodic with his chords, but they can be really challenging to map out on the fretboard and to memorize. So check out this video here where I show you the fastest way to learn triads so that you can make them a part of your playing and be able to improvise around with chords with much more ease.